Because what we've seen is that we can get to the point where the body will actually want to embark on a deeper level of detoxification in phase three, which is by working with the body at an encapsulation level, right? So, an encapsulation would be the body's, again, intelligence, innate intelligence, going by design to protect you if there was a toxin that was obnoxious enough to create some issues for you. And a lot of times, those toxins are things that we got early on in childhood and even infancy that the body has walled off, put them in a little secret compartment, and are usually in the form of cysts, tumors, nodules, lipomas, sometimes stones, calcium plaque, and those are the things that the body actually did it intentionally. And then the only way that you can actually get the body to open up that conversation, though, is by increasing sufficiency in the surrounding material, organs, using glands to make it safe for the body to go, oh, I guess it is okay here. It's clear now.
It's safe to let this go.
I can start to let this toxin go.
Welcome to the Resiliency Method, the truth about healing. I'm Dr. Erika, and we are here to uncover the root causes keeping you stuck. Together, we'll restore your energy, your focus, and your resiliency so you can finally heal, regenerate, and feel truly alive again.
You can't cold plunge your way to health, and you definitely can't sauna your way out of chronic deficiency. Welcome to the Resiliency Method, the Truth About Healing podcast. I'm Dr. Erika, and today my practitioners Erika Turner and Susan Hofland are joining me for a short wrap session on why biohacking, the more masculine approach to wellness, keeps you stuck in symptom management instead of actual healing. So when you're already walking around in a chronic inflammatory state or with deep deficiency in your body, adding more stress to your body through cold plunging, intense saunas, or punishing HIIT classes isn't building resilience. It's actually breaking you down further. We're revealing why no pain, no gain expired in your 20s, what hermetic stress does to your already stressed body, and why movement and breath restore what exercise destroys. If you're biohacking hard, but this are still symptomatic, this conversation reveals what you're actually missing. Welcome back to the Resiliency Method, the Truth About Healing podcast. I am Dr. Erika, and I'm joined today by my colleagues, Erika Turner and Susan Hofland. And we are here to rap with you about biohacking. Woo! Biohacking. Yes, let's go. Let's go. Okay, so I'm going to start this conversation off because this was actually something that was a big aha for me when it came to kind of like understanding. And the more that I hung out with other practitioners, functional medicine doctors, things like that, really successful practitioners, there was this like sort of emerging track that I was seeing, which was there was a lot of practitioners that were really into biohacking. And then there was a lot of practitioners that were really like into wellness, maybe the use of supplements, things like that. And there was almost like this distinction in the two tracks. And it's not like one wouldn't go to the other, but I started to see that. And then I was at a conference and somebody was talking about the market space and, how people are approaching healthcare and such. And pointed out that the biohacking was really the masculine approach to wellness. And the supplement wellness world, gut terrain, all the things was really more of a feminine approach.
Yeah.
And I thought that was so interesting because it did sort of be clear. I'm like, and that's kind of what I started seeing was there's a lot of men loving the biohacking and there's a lot of women loving the wellness world. And the beauty was then we could kind of start to see these things, the yin and the yang, come together and create more of a cohesion. And that's what we've done, right? We encourage some of the biohacking as adjunct therapies to helping the body to heal faster, more efficiently. But we also see that there's a time and place, and definitely that we really can't hack our way to health in the ultimate end, right? Yeah.
You can't cold plunge your way to health.
You can't cold plunge your way to health. Why not? Let's start there. You brought it up. Let's talk about cold plunging.
Well, from a Chinese medicine perspective, cold plunging is not very good for you.
Yeah. Why?
It's very hard on the spleen deficiency.
The kidneys,
the
too.
kidneys, yeah.
And really anywhere where there's an underlying deficiency.
Yeah. So you're taking a deficient, you're taking various glands and organs that are already deficient, and then you're putting them into mega stress mode with the you're adding dampness and cold to an already cold deficient body.
Mhm.
So
But it's
that's
so
not
good for
the
you, this research says.
yes. um I know we would disagree with that.
Yeah, I mean, in the big picture, and I still, somebody comes in and they love their cold plunging, and they come in and they love their cold plunging.
Mm.
And I think a lot of that's coming from the adrenaline rush that comes with those endorphins that are
Spikes your cortisol.
releasing. Yeah,
Yeah.
that feels
Yeah.
so good, and the vasoconstriction definitely helps with increasing blood supply to different areas. First, it constricts it, then increases it.
Mhm.
But let's say that somebody's really committed to their cold plunging. I'm usually having
Mhm.
them kind of do a net neutral effect, which is to do sauna with it.
You're gonna do it.
Okay.
Yeah,
With the
to at
heat.
least create some kind of balance between the cold and the hot. And let's talk about sauna for a second. Everybody thinks that the sauna is so great. Let's talk about that in terms of what do we notice with patients.
Yeah. I mean, the sauna can
Well,
be a really amazing tool to use, but at the right time and place. And when you're adding a sauna or dry sauna, and it's the heat at the inappropriate time, then you're upregulating um, a pattern that already like I mean, it can actually like make you feel worse. I mean, for me personally, I went through a period where the sun, just being in the sun was upregulating me. It caused skin had some weird skin stuff happening, but
mm,
that was that upregulation happening from the heat
at the wrong
at the
time.
wrong
The
time.
wrong at
Mhm.
the wrong time. Not that sauna's not good for you, but ultimately a lot of us are walking around with that chronic inflammatory state, which anytime you have inflammation, which isn't
Mhm.
inflammation, we don't rag on inflammation. We think inflammation is actually useful. However, it's in the context of a controlled burn versus an out of control forest, raging forest fire that's
Mhm.
taking down the hillside, right? So, inflammation is the body's natural design at play to
Right.
increase temperature and to help kill off pathogens and material in the body. But if you're in that chronic state, inflammatory state with the body, you probably aren't going to feel so great actually going into the sauna on the regular because it's just adding more heat to that already pretty warm and heat laden body ultimately. And also might be a reason why some people actually do feel better with cold plunging because they're bringing down some of that internal temperature,
Right. Yeah.
at least for a period of time, right? But we've also seen where chronic or recurring cold plungers can also start to, especially men, can start to suffer some of these impacts of that cold, especially in their lower body, and affect even their testosterone level. So it is something to really keep and monitor on, keep an eye
Mhm.
on, making sure and checking in every once in a while with urinary, not just blood, urinary levels of your testosterone levels for men if you're doing that.
Yeah, I would say another thing that was to be careful with these biohacking, things that people do that are causing that hormesis that's this that kind of like good stress on the body. And I would say, from my research into it, we already are so stressed out. Like
Right.
we are already dealing
Yeah.
with such high levels of stress just with our modern lifestyle. It's almost impossible for us to not have that amount of stress. So adding that additional stress onto the body, particularly when
Mhm.
you're so deficient to our practice, is already, we know right off the bat they're so deficient. And
Yeah.
so adding that extra super stressful thing onto the body
Yeah.
is ultimately long term not healthy.
Stress is stress
Yeah,
as far as the body is concerned. It doesn't matter where it comes from.
yeah,
Even exercise, you can
exactly.
overdo, and
Oh,
that can
let's
be a
talk about that.
stress,
Yeah,
Yeah,
right?
absolutely.
yeah,
And so some people think, well, if I exercise and I'm fit, then I'm healthy. And that could not be more mistaken.
Yeah, and that actually can start working against someone, especially when you're dealing with chronic deficiency in your body, which then in turn over time can turn into also mitochondrial insufficiency. And then you're taking a body that is kind of running on fumes. And because you hear the only way to health is diet and exercise, you're feeling guilty because you're not exercising enough. But every time you do, you feel like crap. Right. And so it's this endless vicious cycle of let me just beat myself up a little bit more because I don't feel good and I can't get to the gym like I should. And, all of the
Or
things that go into
how many female patients have we seen who come in who are like going to their HIIT class or their Orange Theory class,
Right.
4 or 5 times a week, and their hair's falling out and
Right.
they're breaking out and
Menstrual
like
cycles are
putting
messed
weight
up.
on. Yeah, menstrual cycles are less fun
Mhm.
stuff.
Yep.
Their stress hormones are so upregulated.
Right.
And
So let's talk about exercise for a second. So the more traditional Eastern cultures, ancient medicine perspectives, and this was a hard one for me to get my head around when I was in acupuncture school. It'd be like people were doing qigong, and I'm like, well, I'm going to yoga, and in that room's going to be hot, and I'm going to like be, what somebody's going to have to wipe me up off the floor after I'm done because that's how you exercise.
so many calories.
Right. Well, I didn't even think about that, but I just didn't even think it
Yes.
counted unless I felt like crap. And I was like destroying myself and sort of like it was like a self-punishment or something. And if I wasn't in self-punishment mode, it didn't count. And that was my thinking. I got to grad school and
No
these
pain,
people,
no gain.
they're doing
Yeah.
these like, qigong moves with their breath. And I'm like, oh my gosh, it's like such a waste of your time. The more that I got into actually working with clients, and this took me a while, I started saying, it's about movement. It's not, and even in the context of qigong, it's about using your breath to help improve that chronic deficiency that you have. And they saw that as being a longer term strategy for your health was to actually
Right.
use your breath to help restore and overcome some of that loss of mitochondrial sufficiency that you would lose through the aging process. So movement is what is key, guys. Building muscle, making sure you're out walking in nature, calming your nervous system, not asking it to be under more stress, right? But actually finding that nice balance of restoration with movement is what's the best. Once you get beyond that, middle age, I think that we probably expire in that American view of it doesn't no pain, no gain, probably expires on most of us in our 20s, if not definitely by our 30s. So it's being strategic too, right, about those kinds of things. What are some other tools that we see to be useful in terms of what we would recommend to clients that would be, we call them hacking or we can call them adjunct therapy.
I mean, something that we're finding to be really helpful, especially in phase 3 of our program, is molecular hydrogen and inhaled molecular hydrogen.
Inhaled molecular hydrogen therapy. Can I just drink it? The hydrogen
Well,
water?
yeah, we don't find that to be. It doesn't actually test well. So
Yeah, and it's not really the point, right? The hydrogen inhalation is for what?
we're using it
Patterns.
actually to break up plaque in the body. It's I don't know if anybody else is using it that way, but that's how we use it, and it's pretty powerful.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because what we've seen is that we can get to the point where the body will actually want to embark on a deeper level of detoxification in phase 3, which is by working with the body at an encapsulation level, right? So an encapsulation would be the body's, again, intelligence, innate intelligence, going by design to protect you if there was a toxin that was obnoxious enough to create some issues for you. And a lot of times those toxins are things that we got early on in childhood and even infancy that the body has walled off, put them in a little secret compartment, and are usually in the form of cysts, tumors, nodules, lipomas, sometimes stones. What else did I miss? Plaque. And those are the things that the body actually did it intentionally. And then the only way that you can actually get the body to open up that conversation, though, is by increasing sufficiency in the surrounding material, organs, tissues, and glands to make it safe for the body to go, oh, I guess it is okay here. It's clear now.
Safe to let this go.
I can start to let this toxin go. However, now this person's been in this body for about sometimes 40 to even 70, 80 years old. And that encapsulation's getting more solidified,
Yeah.
more
The hard
dense.
little shell that's hard to, much harder to
Mhm.
break up.
Yeah, and we're
Mhm.
seeing that inhalation of hydrogen to actually be useful and starting to moisten and start siphoning off those encapsulations and at a very slow and precise rate so that the body will continue to open up. And we're supporting that detoxification with not any fancy binder or chelator. It's
Mhm.
just simply through what?
Yeah, just inhale.
With supplements though.
Well, at that point, we're using a lot of, well, protomorphogens, so our stem cells we're using a lot of B vitamins,
B vitamins.
Our
minerals.
helpers. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
B vitamins,
L-theanine, yeah.
minerals,
Minerals.
Yeah.
Yeah.
and then in particular fatty acids. A lot of those encapsulated toxins are stored deeply in the brain. They're stored in the body fat. They're stored in encapsulations along the nervous system, the vagus nerve, and where fatty liver isn't just your diet and
Right.
lack of exercise. There's
Mhm.
encapsulated toxins in there that's contributed to that non-alcoholic fatty liver disease. So it's been pretty incredible to see some of that integration. And then we love our old acupuncture. I know you've been working with someone to do some adhesion therapy to move through things through. And we talked about how that's going to be important to slow that down as you get into those encapsulated toxins.
Right.
Yeah, we love acupuncture. We also love the flow presso,
Yeah.
lymphatic
Mm.
compression
Flow
therapy.
presso is
It's-
wonderful.
Yeah,
Mhm.
that tests really well on a lot of people at
Yes.
this phase.
And specifically for that lymphatic movement. Are you tired of treatments, protocols, and gurus who promise results but don't deliver? You're not alone. For years, I struggled with my own long term illness, and I know how frustrating it feels when nothing seems to work. That's why I developed the Resiliency Method. It's a science backed approach to combining the best of Western and ancient medicines to restore your body's natural intelligence. Patient after patient has discovered what's possible, living stronger, brighter, and more spiritually connected than ever before. Whether you're facing autoimmune issues, hormonal imbalances, weight struggles, or just feeling stuck, you don't need another quick fix. You need a clear path forward. Take the first step with a discovery call at drericaonline.com/discovery. That's DRERIKA online.com/discovery. Or dive deeper with a full initial consultation at drericaonline.com/initial-consultation, because your health, your clarity, and your freedom cannot wait. What are some of the downfalls with our traditional lymphatic devices out there in doctors' offices? They would just like work on the legs, and then they're
Right.
Oh, yeah,
squeezing the
they're not. Yeah,
legs.
it's not
Right.
full body, not necessarily working with the way the actual lymph flow
Mhm.
is.
So this device
Yeah.
is a complete suit all over you,
Mhm.
your chest, your abdomen, your arms, your legs, and then it works in a circular fashion when accordance to the way that your lymphatic system circulates, and then you get that whole therapeutic approach as opposed to just squeezing and then letting somewhere else where it's backed up push it
Right.
back down
Push it back down.
into your legs, right?
Then it puts you into deep like
Oh, it
Oh,
feels
it
so
does.
good. I
It
just
feels
did it
so good.
yesterday. I feel
Yeah.
like
so good.
Feels
it's
good.
like so relaxing.
Yeah.
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 I
Like a
fall
big
asleep
hot.
every time.
We also use foot baths
Yeah.
very
Mhm.
strategically,
Foot baths.
not
Yeah.
not forever.
Those work really well in
Mhm.
phase
Phase
1.
one, sometimes a little bit
Mhm.
circling back in phase 3 a little bit
Yeah,
for some vaccine detox.
absolutely.
Mhm.
Those are some of our favorites. Anything else you can think of? Oh, we like the vagus nerve stimulators
Mhm.
at the
Oh,
right time.
right.
Oh,
We have
Glasha.
yeah,
Gua sha.
Gua
Dry
sha,
brushing.
dry brushing,
Dry-
nasal rinsing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yes,
That
the
was another
massage.
thing I will fully
Nasal
admit. I
rinsing.
used to like judge that stuff. I used to knock it. I'd be like, "What could this really be doing?" I was too, certified yoga teacher, going through the thing and the whole process, going, "That can't be useful."
Mhm.
And now I do it every day.
I love
Nasal
it.
rinsing,
Mhm.
dry brushing,
Mhm.
wash jaw, and it's fantastic for again that lymphatic flow. And we're doing a lot of work at the nervous system. Let's face it. We're working
Right.
on the brain. in the nervous system. And so your answer for that really is a lot of lymphatic therapy and on the regular, because the body will take, or the nervous system brain will take its garbage out through the sinus cavities, through the lymphatic system. So that's an Ayurvedic.
Yeah.
Old school.
Yeah,
Bringing it all together.
All back in Epsom
Bringing-
salt baths.
Yeah, bringing it all
Right.
in.
Epsom salt baths. Yeah.
And it works at the right time, though, right? We found
time,
these
right
things
place.
at the wrong time can sometimes give you a non-desired response. So we're always assessing that too. What's a better question somebody could ask about biohacking?
Well, I would say, to the guy who's coming in, who's like, I've got my barrel sauna out in the yard and my cold plunge bath right next to it. I guess I would challenge him a little bit to ask what is your goal?
goal.
Your end goal.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is it just, a lot of times I don't know if they can answer that question. Stress your body out so that it burns more brown fat, or I don't know, like it does something to your brain, or I'm not sure. Like what, I don't know if they would have really if they would completely understand why.
Right.
But I would challenge them to ask the question of like what is their goal, and is that ultimately addressing deeper deficiencies in the body that can't be healed with cold plunging.
No. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
I guess too, like, you brought up the biohacking guy. We kind of started the conversation there. And no, we're not ragging on you guys. We're just bringing to light that a lot of times, you really need more of a cohesive strategy on your health in particular. And, you don't have you don't hack your finances. You don't hack your vehicle. There's a systematic way that you work with these things, but you have a strategy for all of them. And so when it comes to your health, it's probably the most important area where you need a strategy and you need a coach and you need good cohesion, you need efficiency, you need to maximize your gains. And if you're just taking this kind of hacky one-off approach to it over time, that's going to have an impact, and that's going to also impact in reduced efficiency, more cost, and obviously less of a result. We want to also consider that the world of hacking may not be the best strategy. And think of that in other contexts of your life where you feel like you're probably not going to take a hacking strategy. So why in the most important area of your life would you on this one? There's no shortcuts.
Thanks for tuning into the Resiliency Method, the Truth About Healing podcast. If this episode spoke to you, follow, share, and leave us a review. Are you ready to go deeper? Book your discovery call now at drerikaonline.com/discovery and take your first step today.